Hi everybody, welcome to the 2019 New York International Auto Show, the only place you'll ever see me in a blazer. It's inconvenient for a lot of you to make it here, especially those on the West Coast. So let me take you around and show you what's new.
Gathering in our secret lair, the consensus among my fellow automotive writers is this year's show was filled with product that will make money for the industry, not hot cars that enthusiasts love. The most significant vehicles here are mainstream models that families will buy.
As you might imagine, there were a lot of SUVs and crossovers being shown because, well, that's where the money is these days.
Toyota's Highlander moves up a notch in size to better compete with large three-row family haulers. It gets smoother, less rugged lines, and a solid dollop of Subaru in the grille. There are two drivetrains. A 295 horsepower 3.5-liter V6 is paired with an 8-speed automatic. There's optional all-wheel drive and advanced dynamic torque vectoring all-wheel drive in top trim models. Or go for the hybrid powertrain with 240 horsepower and an updated CVT. Unlike RAV4, the hybrid is less powerful. Look for it at the end of 2019. It will have strong competition. Kia was showing the Telluride, and it comes standard with a snorkel. Kidding, this is just a concept. You'll actually be schlepping the family with this one. It's roomy, the price is right, and it's available right now. Also at the show is New York's first look at the Hyundai Palisade. Built on the same architecture as Telluride, it's equally roomy and well-appointed, especially in the upper trim levels like this one. Palisade will be showing up in dealerships soon. In the summer of 2019, look for an all-new version of the Ford Explorer, also a three-row machine. It's based on new rear-drive architecture. In person, it looks like a sleeker version of the current generation. This is my favorite model, though it's more for California climates. Again, kidding, obviously. This cutaway shows the 3.3-liter V6 hybrid system that's more powerful than the Highlanders at 318 horsepower. The electric motor is embedded into the 10-speed automatic transmission. Rear-wheel drive is standard, all-wheel drive is optional. You'll get your first look at the all-new Escape at the Javits Center. Unlike the RAV4, Escape's design is more car-like, perhaps to set it apart from the Bronco that's coming. The big news is that the hybrid returns. Bigger news? There will be a plug-in powertrain too. Ford says it has an all-electric range of 30-plus miles. On standard gas models, all-wheel drive disconnect decouples the rear wheels when the system detects that all-wheel drive isn't needed. Look for the Escape in the fall of 2019. Wherever there's snow and dogs, you'll find Subarus. Those in the snow belt can celebrate the arrival of the 6th generation Outback. If they can spot it, Outback sticks to the if it ain't broke, don't fix it school of design. The most noticeable difference is inside, where it takes a huge leap, at least in upper trim levels, with a huge iPad-like screen. Power is provided by a 2.5-liter engine with 182 horsepower, or, huzzah, an optional turbocharged 2.4-liter with 260 horsepower. The new Onyx model goes straight to the heart of Seattleites with seat fabric made with water-resistant Startex fabric. Get it? Startex? Gore-Tex? Miss driving a diesel? Mazda finally showed off its CX-5 with the diesel engine it's promised for years. The 2.2-liter four-cylinder engine makes 168 horsepower and 290 pound-feet of torque. Interesting that those figures are less than the gas Turbo 4 you can get in the CX-5. Fuel efficiency is about the same as the base four-cylinder CX-5. It will be interesting to see how this does in the marketplace after what Volkswagen did. Finally, the small Hyundai Venue is big news. In person, this is a very appealing package that's aimed at first-time car buyers. In other words, it's supposed to be inexpensive. It's powered by a 1.6-liter four-cylinder with a choice of 6-speed manual or CVT automatic transmission. It's pretty small, but useful, slotting in under the Kona. But before skiers get too excited, it's front-wheel drive only. Venue is cheap and cheerful in a positive way.
All right, moving on to performance. This is my favorite segment, the one that makes me wish I made a lot more money.
If I had the funds, I'd struggle between driving the Porsche 911 Speedster hard and parking it in my living room as a piece of art, especially this optional heritage design package. At a beer garden pre-event that was part museum retrospective, Porsche schooled us on the 4-liter turbo flat 6 developing 502 horsepower and 346 pound-feet of torque. With 6 forward gears, you'll be rowing your own to pilot the Speedster, manual transmission only, no PDK. Lots of carbon fiber body panels and ceramic discs keep the weight low. Limited to 1,948 copies worldwide, they'll go fast, even at around $275,000. In the halo of the auto show, meaning that it won't be shown at the Javits Center, Pininfarina, best known as an Italian design house and coach builder with deep Ferrari roots, showed its first production car in a Chelsea studio. The Battista will set you back at least $2.2 million. I should have put this in the electric vehicle section, but there's 1,900 horsepower for your right foot to play with, meaning 0 to 60 sprints of under 2 seconds. The 120 kilowatt-hour battery is estimated to go some 300 miles on a charge, but the real charge is the design. This 2-seat hypercar is a beauty, even if I couldn't get a clear shot through the crowd. It's been a long time since this badge appeared in a Toyota showroom. The Supra is back, though certainly different from the last one. This one is a joint venture between Toyota and BMW, and it's based on the same architecture as Z4. It goes with a turbocharged inline 6, making 335 horsepower and 365 pound-feet of torque, plus an 8-speed automatic. Look for it in the summer of 2019, starting at around $50,000. It was 50 years ago at the New York show that Datsun debuted this, and as we all know, the brand's name changed to Nissan and the number climbed to 370. While enthusiasts would love an all-new version, they get a 50th anniversary edition with a custom interior and graphics from the original Brock Racing Enterprises 240Z racing team. It's basically a sport edition with an appearance package, and there's a silver and black edition if this is a bit bright for you. And while there's a lot of exotics here, it's just too difficult to get to them, as lovely as they are. Sorry, folks. I'm kind of sticking to the mainstream models. Head to the Javits Center if you want to see them.
Luxury cars? Of course there's luxury cars. This is New York.
This class was dominated by SUVs and crossovers as well. Lincoln showed off the new Corsair. Yes, it's based on the same architecture as Escape. You'd never know. It uses a different rear suspension and sound suppression systems, plus gets a more powerful 2.3-liter turbo engine with 280 horsepower as an option. Lincoln has been finding its own voice when it comes to luxury. This is a unique interior stressing horizontal lines and high-quality materials. There's also tech like phone as key and an attractive gauge cluster screen. This is a great replacement to the MKC. Some have been saying that it looks like a baby aviator. It shares a family design language, but it has its own look. Oh, and the name Corsair is great. Cadillac? Are you listening? Range Rover's Velar is a beautiful machine. The SV Autobiography Dynamic Edition changes things up a bit with new fascias front and rear, an updated interior, and, most significant, a supercharged 5-liter V8 with 542 horsepower and 502 pound-feet of torque. It's mated to an 8-speed automatic. It should do the 0 to 60 dash in around 4 seconds and top out at 170 miles an hour in case you do those kinds of things in your SUV, and I've got to say, love the satin finish paint. BMW X7? You have new competition. Mercedes-Benz rolled out the new GLS. The wheelbase is stretched 2.4 inches to give those in the second row even more room to stretch out. A 6-seat model with captain's chairs in the second row is available for the first time. The GLS 580 will have an electrified V8 engine with a 48-volt onboard electrical system that has an integrated starter generator. In other words, wealthy families will be hauling the brood in style, luxury, and power.
Yes, SUVs and crossovers do dominate, but there were some new sedans.
Hyundai figures the best way to sell these is to make them look very, very good, and it has succeeded with the new 8th generation Sonata. This looks a couple levels more expensive than it is. The DRLs in the Lasso here turn to a chrome look when they're turned off. The architecture is all new, and the driving dynamics have been massaged by Albert Bierman. Normally aspirated 2.5-liter and turbo 1.6-liter engines have been announced, both mated to an 8-speed automatic transmission. You'll have to wait until October to be a style maven. Jaguar has updated the XE, and it's not just new fascias, headlights, and tail lamps. The big news is a completely redone interior that's much more in line with what a premium sports sedan should look like. It's much nicer, folks. And the I-Pace's Touch Pro Duo user interface gets installed. The 8-speed is now controlled by a pistol grip. The round knob is gone. It's still available in rear and all-wheel drive, but Americans, no diesel for you. Cadillac showrooms are now filled with SUVs and crossovers. Its attention now turns to four-doors. CT5 gets a crisp look with a grille inspired by the lovely Escala concept. The Cadillac user experience has been updated, adding cloud-based voice recognition and a knob controller. The fastback-like look gets 2 power plants under the long diving hood, a 2-liter Turbo 4, good for 237 horsepower, and a 3-liter twin-turbo V6, pumping out 335. The sport models are more about trim, but Cadillac's excellent sedan handling has sadly gone unnoticed by shoppers for years. Really, they're great. Arriving this fall, the excellent semi-autonomous Super Cruise is on the option list. And finally, this might look like a standard Acura TLX, but the paint job that takes 3 days to complete happens at Honda's Performance Manufacturing Center, where the NSX is built. This special edition is hand-built, fully optioned and numbered. Yes, only 360 will be built. The cost? Around 50 grand. The MDX is next in line to get this special treatment.
More and more electric cars are showing up.
This is New York's first glimpse of Kia's fully electrified Soul. It has a range of 243 miles, and it's just as practical as the gas-powered version. Mercedes has a new EV, the EQC series. This is the EQC edition 1886. Mercedes says that number is a reminder of the invention of the first automobile. Tesla fans might chafe at that marketing in the electric car segment. Still, this looks to be a very appealing vehicle. The 80 kilowatt-hour lithium-ion pack should be good for about 250 miles of range. 2 motors provide all-wheel drive, 402 horsepower, and 564 pound-feet of torque. It's an appealing package. Looking forward to driving it. Rivian was at the show, and while it had nothing new to display, there is a clear buzz about this company and its electric trucks. The quad motor system can rocket from 0 to 60 miles an hour in 3 seconds flat. It can ford up to 30 inches of water, and Rivian says it has a range of up to 400 plus miles. Amazon just invested $700 million in this company. Seems like the real deal.
One of the great things about major auto shows like New York are the concept cars, and there were some pretty cool ones here this year.
It's a dance show. It's a fashion show. And oh yeah, there was a car too. In the shadow of Hudson Yard's Vessel, Genesis, the brand that really needs a crossover, rolled out the Mint, a 2-seat electric coupe. I got conflicting info on whether there's a snowball's chance in hell of this being produced, but I would love to see these out on the road. Overall, it's a simple, clean design, but the closer you look, the more complex the details are. There's no trunk lid per se, and the seats and dash move once the doors open, though they weren't demoing that for me at the show. I understand the appeal of the Mint. Build it, Genesis, right after the SUVs come. Also electric is the Kia Habanero. Get it? Habanero? There's no way this will reach production with the gull-wing doors, pedestal seats, and a lighted floor, but it sure is hot. There's a lot to like here. The red panels are actually aero blades if you look really closely, and these side flanks would be a great way to disguise door protection that eliminates dings. The Habanero was one of those cars that I lingered over. Toyota has shown the TJ Cruiser before, but I just want to state that I think this one could and should be built. It's functional, it looks great, and it fits into the crossover craze. Volkswagen had two concepts. The ID Buggy is a throwback to the old Beetle-based Myers-Manx dune buggies. This one is fully electric and seems doubtful for production, but cool and nostalgic. VW just can't seem to get pickups off its mind, and the Tarok is the latest in the company's thoughts on building one. Come on, folks, build one already. Other than this and the light show, Tarok looks very production ready right down to the interior. The bed walls are very high, and taking cues from the Chevy Avalanche, this panel folds down so long things can slide inside the cabin. This is a good look and, in a way, sort of a modern take on the Chevy El Camino.
Even though they're big sellers, not an awful lot new happening in the pickup space this year.
There were some special editions and heavy-duty versions from both GMC and Ram. Can anybody tell what this is? Anyone? I know, it's subtle. Chevy also had the Colorado ZR2 Bison on display with its boron steel skid plates and plenty of protection for those who really do off-road. But my favorite was this Silverado, made of Lego. Every single part of it, even the badges. I got to wonder if it's heavier than the real truck. That's a lot of Lego.
Well, hope you enjoyed my overview of the 2019 New York International Auto Show. I know I couldn't get to everything, but I'm one guy with one camera. I do what I can. And before I go, special shout out to Subaru. They have the most elaborate set in the entire show. It's like visiting Yellowstone. From the 2019 New York International Auto Show, I'm Tom Voelk.